Where to now, Ace?
Home.
Home?
The TARDIS.
Yes, the TARDIS. There are worlds out there where the sky's burning, where the sea's asleep and the rivers dream. People made of smoke and cities made of song. Some of there's danger, some of there's injustice, and somewhere else the tea's getting cold. Come on, Ace. We've got work to do.
Hi everyone, TARDIS Guy 123 here, and today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 Doctor Who stories from the 80s. Now, I was originally going to do it for an individual Doctor, so either 5, 6 or 7, but then I thought I don't really have enough stories to do this, and I thought why not just do an overall 80s. So yeah, let's just jump right in with this. Of course the 80s is a rather controversial time for Doctor Who. It was cancelled twice during the 80s. One was then redone as a hiatus, and the second was the actual cancellation until 2005 when it was properly revived. We did have the TV movie in between the 90s, but yeah, let's just go right into this list with number 10, and that is Vengeance on Varos.
That is enterprising. Your idea, Governor.
Yes?
Are they really disturbing, these videos you sell?
They show what befalls those who refuse to obey the orders by which the people of Varos must live.
Torture, blindness, execution.
All the functions of the punishment dome are recorded as warnings to miscreants everywhere.
But they entertain.
In the history of Doctor Who, there are few stories that come as close to being as controversial as Vengeance on Varos. It's a story which I personally quite like. It does have some flaws. I must admit the ending is quite bad, but I don't see the over-violence as being too much. I think it works for the story and the idea that they were going for. And, Syl as a villain is amazing. And it's got quite a good few things going for it. The ending is something that just feels very odd to me. But other than that, I think it is quite a grim but well done story. And so, yeah, now let's move on to number 9, which is Logopolis.
Logopolis?
Yes. That Ariel's a recent addition.
Are we going to be staying long?
You are.
What?
You and I have to part company.
Look, if you're going after Nissa, I'm coming too.
Don't argue.
I demand to see who's ever in charge of this ship!
Logopolis is one of those stories where the entire universe is at stake. Literally, in this, practically the whole of creation is threatened. And arguably, they do it way too much in the new series, I think. But here, it's rarely been done before. I think the last time you had a threat this big was Pyramids of Mars, which was quite a few years ago. And before that, it was probably the Daleks' master plan. So it is something very rare that doesn't happen that often. So in that sense, it works because, it doesn't happen too often. So when it does come along, it is more effective because of that. So yeah, Logopolis in 9th place. So in 8th place we have the 2 Doctors.
I am Group Marshal Stike, commander of the 9th Sontaran Battle Group.
Long way from the war, aren't you, Stike? Going badly, is it?
On the contrary, and thanks to the information you've just given me, I shall be back in time for the crucial battle.
My money's still on the Rootons.
Now then, the 2 Doctors is another one of those controversial stories, and you do have a lot of those in the 6th Doctor's era, unfortunately. But this is probably my favourite 6th Doctor story of the ones I've seen so far, and I think it's got a lot going for it, really, because you've got the Sontarans, who unfortunately get their role quite reduced in this, but nevertheless they do have a strong presence in the early half of the story. And of course you have Patrick Troughton coming back as the 2nd Doctor, and if you know me, you'll know that Patrick Troughton is my favourite Doctor, so this obviously has to make my list, I think, because he does an amazing performance in it. Fraser Hines is back as Jamie. Colin Baker gives an amazing performance too. And, it has its flaws, but overall it is an enjoyable story. Got some good music, considering that's from the 80s, and overall it's just quite enjoyable. So now let's move on to 7th place, which is The Keeper of Traken.
Adric, I give you a privileged insight into the mystery of time. Yes?
Yes.
Open your mind to adventures beyond imagining. Yes?
Yes.
And you criticize my logic.
No. No, I'm just saying that a lot of the time you don't really make sense.
Oh, you've noticed that, have you? Well, I mean, anyone can talk sense as long as that's understood. You and I are going to get on splendidly.
Now, if you saw my top 10 companions video a couple of weeks back, you'll know that Nyssa is my favourite companion from the 80s, and this is her introduction story. And while she doesn't start travelling in the TARDIS until Legopolis, this is still her first story that she was in, and it's a very good story. I think it's got a lot going for it. It's much more a fairy tale story than a lot of other Doctor Who stories are, because you got this ideal kind of like paradise almost planet and whatnot, but it's starting to fall apart, and there's of course a snake in the grass, which is the Melkur, and that's controlled by the Master, and it's got a lot going for it. I think it's a very good story. So, and it's probably my favourite from the New Beginnings box set. In fact, yeah, it's definitely my favourite actually. So, yep, now moving on to 6th place, we have Snake Dance.
Is it? Of course it is. But all so long ago. The Mara was destroyed 500 years ago, and yet we're still celebrating it. Why?
Oh, once every 10 years.
It occurs to me that the whole thing is kept going solely to remind the people here how much better life is under the rule of the Federation.
And so it is.
Is it?
Of course it is. Life under the Mara must have been gruesome in the extreme. I mean, look. Oh, it is grotesque.
This story, while a sequel to Kinder the previous year, has much more in common with Planet of the Spiders for some reason. And that's not a bad thing, because Planet of the Spiders is a good story, and so is this one, I think. And, it's got a lot going for it, I think. Unfortunately, the world building isn't as good as Kinder, but, the snake's an improvement, and overall it's just a fun story. And, you got a lot of good guest characters in this, guest cast. They're also well done, and it's the same with Kinder really, the guest cast. It's just generally a very strong production, very visual as well, and I like this story a lot. So now we move on to 5th place, which is, funnily enough, The Five Doctors.
You see, Brucer, together we're a match for you.
Perhaps, but you will never overcome me.
We don't need to. Soon Chancellor Flavia will be here with her guards. Or can you overcome the whole High Council?
Why not? I am Lord President of Gallifrey, and you are the notorious renegades.
Say what you will about Day of the Doctor, but in my eyes, The Five Doctors is the essential and the perfect not 50th anniversary, sorry, anniversary special. So you got the first 5 Doctors working together. In a way, technically it's only the first 3 and the 5th, but and you could even argue that it's the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th, along with a different first, because it's not William Hartnell, it is of course Richard Hartnell. But anyway, I'm just nattering on now. It is a very enjoyable story, good music, and just ultimately it's what a celebration story should be, I think. So now we move on to number 4, which is Earthshock.
Can you do it? I must do it.
It's got to TARDIS. Come in, please.
This is the TARDIS. We have Cybermen on board.
We managed to escape from the freighter, but Edric's still on board.
I have talked about this story before in other top 10 videos very recently, So I won't go too in depth on it, but I'm just going to say it is a fantastic Cyberman story. It doesn't really get the Cybermen exactly right necessarily, like the 60s did, but it's a good portrayal of them, and the episode itself is very strong. So now we move on to third place, which is Remembrance of the Daleks.
Ah, there you are. This is the Doctor, President-elect of the High Council of Time Lords, Keeper of the Legacy of Rassilon, Defender of the Laws of Time, Protector of Gallifrey. I call upon you to surrender the Hand of Omega and return to your customary time and place.
Doctor! You have changed again! Your appearance is as inconstant as your intelligence! You have confounded me for the last time!
Well, it's one of those action-packed stories that really does have a lot in it, but is not weighed down by the continuity and whatnot, so I think that Remembrance of the Daleks is a very good Dalek story. One of my favourites, I think. It really is a strong Dalek story. Sylvester McCoy is good in it, and overall it's just a very good Dalek story. And, Davros is pushed towards the end, which is another bit I liked about this, because I think a lot of the 80s Dalek stories and Destiny of the Daleks are weighed down by Davros, unfortunately. So that's why this one works quite well. Now we move on to second place, which is the Caves of Androzani.
Jack, where's the spec clocks?
Morgus, you take one more step, and we shoot.
You think bullets could stop me now? You stinking awful Morgus! Look at me! Look at me!
Caves of Androzani is another one of those absolutely cracking stories that really does have a strong reputation in the Doctor Who community. I think it won the 2008 poll, was it? Yeah, it won the 2008 poll in the Doctor Who magazine, so just by that you can tell that it is a great story. Sorry about that noise. And yeah, it's just an incredible story all the way through, I think, for the most part. A bit slow at the start. It does have some other things wrong with it through, with the Magma Monster, that's not amazing, but overall, those are just minor flaws. It was an absolutely amazing story. So now we move on to first place, which is Kinder.
There could be anything in it.
Yes, I know. Sanders, do you know what's in the box?
I can't remember.
You in there. You, Doctor. Open the box.
I don't think that would be very wise.
Open it.
Are you mad? We don't know what's in it.
Open it and find out.
It could be very dangerous.
Open it! Or I'll have you shot!
Don't, it could kill us.
Now, Kinder is absolutely amazing in my opinion. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, and people do prefer other stories, but for me this is incredible. The Doctor is amazing in this, Peter Davison. And, I think the music is great. Everything just comes together perfectly in this story. And I'll have to go more in depth in a proper review. But this is my favourite 80s story, to be honest. I just can't describe how great it is. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you watch it. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say. So, thanks for watching this review of, not review? What am I about? Thanks for watching this top 10 video of all the stories from the 80s. Next video should hopefully be the review of Deep Breath this Sunday. I'll be on holiday from Thursday to Friday, so I'm not sure how well the uploading is going to work, but hopefully it should stay as planned. So thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you all hopefully on Sunday. Bye everyone.